Hello there, Ian here, and wonderful to be able to be with you once again. We've had a bit of a pause from sharing what I hope have been useful ideas over the past couple of weeks, but it's wonderful to be back with you, and I hope that this message catches you happy, healthy, and strong. Today, I'd like to introduce the topic of pricing. Now, pricing is a very emotive subject. It's also a very broad topic, and I will be returning to this idea in subsequent videos. But for now, I'd like you to imagine a scenario that you may have experienced in your career up to now. And that scenario is this. You've been to see a prospective customer. They've shared information with you. You've put some sort of a plan together. They've said, yeah, I like the plan, but too expensive. Can we discuss a price reduction, some sort of a discount? And you've then got into this sort of price cutting discussion. If that is in some way familiar, then stay tuned, because I have a couple of ideas I'd like to share with you. But the key question really is, when we start, if we embark on reducing our price and trying to fit the demands of the customer, in many situations my question is, who actually wins when we start reducing our price? Who is the winner in those scenarios? And to illustrate that, I'd like to go back to an experience I had many years ago when we were in the IT business. To make a long story as short as I can, our sales team had visited a prospective customer. The customer had agreed to buy a certain number of computers from us and some hardware, other hardware and software. Now, the branded computers of the time were too expensive for the customer, and the brands were IBM, Hewlett-Packard, Compaq. You can see how many years ago this was. So we'd been able to put a solution together using off-the-shelf components and computer chassis. Now, those were supplied to meet the customer's budget, but what followed in the subsequent days and weeks was nothing but frustration from the customer's perspective, because these machines kept crashing. They never really performed at the expected level. Our technicians were called in to reconfigure and restore these machines on a repeated basis after they'd been installed initially. So my question is, who actually won in that scenario? Who was the winner? The customer didn't get what they expected. We certainly didn't make very much money, if any money at all, on the deal. So it was pretty much a lose-lose scenario. Frustration from the customer, frustration from us. So how do we turn that around? How do we go from lose-lose, or frustration on both sides, to a better scenario, a win-win scenario? And how do we relate that to pricing? Well, the first things that we need to do is we need to be able to identify or quantify three numbers: the cost of the problem, the benefit of your solution, and the customer's investment. So firstly, the cost of the problem. A customer is only going to spend money to fix a problem, but how much is that problem costing them? So we need to be able to quantify the frustration that the customer is facing in terms of the money that they are going to spend to fix it. They're going to be investing dollars or pounds or euro or ringgit to fix something. So we need to be able to quantify as far as possible the cost of that problem in dollars or in currency. The second thing that we need to be able to do is to look at the benefits of our solution in terms of what they will receive in benefits in the currency that they're going to pay for it. For example, if they're facing $100,000 problem, our solution has got to be worth much more than $100,000 for them to invest. So the cost of the problem, the benefit that they look to receive, or the value that they will receive, and the last component is how much are they going to pay to have this thing fixed. So when we can be clear on those three things, the cost of the problem, the benefit in terms of value that they will receive, and what they will invest, once we can relate those three things, we then have a much better position in order to avoid these price reduction conversations. So if we've got those three numbers, we're in a good position. If you've got a plan that's going out right now, so right now, look at if you've got a proposal or a plan that you're about to share with a customer. Take a good look at that proposal and look at how it's described. If you've got words like quality and support and service and value, those are very big category words that don't have much meaning on their own. So have a look at your proposal before it goes out. If you've not been able to quantify what these mean in dollar terms, pause, take a closer look, and be able to relate what you're proposing with the dollar value that the customer should reasonably be able to expect. So I really hope for now that did make sense. I'll be returning to some other aspects of pricing, but it's important that we stand by a reasonable price, a reasonable rate that we can solve the customer's problem, make a reasonable profit for ourselves, and we can all stay in business and support one another as we grow into the future. I hope that made sense, and I look forward to sharing with you again soon.